everybody. This is so strange. I feel so rusty.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
It's just the three of us.
Yeah. Or maybe more if you're watching with someone.
I can't even fathom the thought of anyone watching us as a group. If so, don't talk about us. Just let it be, okay? Anyway, I am Liz.
I'm Lily Emma.
Welcome back to Blonde Vibrations.
This is Champagne Whispers episode 44 and our first one in 3 months.
Yes.
Maybe longer.
When the heck was 43? Who even knows? Well, it's been about, 12 weeks. A lot has changed around here.
Yeah. We've moved house.
We're in a flat.
So people may know, they might not know. We have been in a house share for 4 years. That was once our student house, which was the same student house that we went back to after our first ever Blonde Vibrations episode when it was on radio. And now we're in a little 2-bed.
Really weird. And I feel like maybe the backdrop looks kind of the same, kind of different, because at the end of the day,
just a sofa on a wall.
It's still a navy sofa and a white wall, but there's no
Was that sofa navy? Oh, I had a pink blanket on it.
But like navy overall?
I don't know, I never had the blanket off it.
Well, Harry is not in the background. Harry's been demoted to a wall over there.
Yeah.
Now
he needs a real home.
It's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's run through the list of other things that we just wanted to say. Since the last time we saw you sat down, just us and you, so much has actually changed. So let's be transparent about things.
Yeah.
We have now started a new interview series called Hex Appeal.
Yeah, and I'm very aware that while we did an Instagram post, we didn't do like an introductory episode like we did for Tuning In we had our mini like, here we go. Whereas there wasn't quite time to do it with Hex Appeal. Like while it was still heavily planned, the schedule just kind of didn't leave space for this is Hex Appeal. And I also feel like because of the nature of Hex Appeal and the fact that it's filmed on site and it's filmed in random spaces, it kind of like didn't need an introduction in the same way because
it was just here we are with this person on this thing doing this thing. But so we've done 4 or 5-ish Hex Appeals at this point. That took us through festival season pretty much.
So this festival season was our first festival season back after a couple years off, right? Like we were still going to the festivals. I think we were still doing some content stuff, but this was our first summer in a couple years where we were interviewing again, which I think was a scary thing to revisit for various reasons that I actually kind of think might have to be another episode. So I feel like we could talk about the nature of festival interviews for 30 minutes and we're trying to not overspeak.
Absolutely.
So we re-entered the like festival interviewing world.
Really strange, but so fun.
Yeah, we hit some new milestones for festivals as well. We went to some festivals that we never got accepted to before. We got accepted for this year, which was really great. And that was really nice because I also think when you get out of the swing of things, it feels like you're not going to be accepted back with open arms, even though it's not that deep. But also, you know, when you're out of the cycles, it was a bit scary.
It's just unnerving. And also it makes you think like, where did the time go? We've documented where the time went. That's why it went so quickly, because it was so next club. Every weekend was something else, a great opportunity and whatnot would arise for us.
Our platforms got bigger, which is obviously nice to see.
Wow.
Eliza's hard work on the TikTok has paid off at
last
after like a year of you trying.
Like it's doing well over there. I don't know. It just is. So thanks to anyone that has found us from here, made their way over to TikTok or vice versa or on Instagram. Because when people say how they found us as well, it is getting a little bit more varied across just all socials. So thank you.
Yeah, and then because of that, more opportunities are rising, which we're not going to talk about because don't want to jinx anything and don't want to leak anything.
And they are still arising.
Yes.
They're still there. It's,
But hopefully you guys can see more of that and also kind of put 2 and 2 together on like what opportunities are happening that we can't necessarily say outright. But one opportunity that we are saying outright is that we started doing paid things and ads, which is crazy that we've started actually making money from our platform.
Guys, we're making money from Blonde Vibrations. Like something that we have built up from 0 on everything and just an idea. Yeah. We're seeing a return in investment.
Also something that someone once told us that we were never going to make money from if we didn't start paying artists for reviews. And spoiler alert, we're not charging artists for reviews. No. And we're making money the way that we wanted to make money. We're in an ethical, well-disclosed way.
And also, the more conversations we have with people kind of in the industry as well, it wasn't us just being stubborn in, we're simply not going to do that. We can't possibly do that. Other people are agreeing with our kind of point of view. So that's kind of quite like gratifying that it wasn't us just disagreeing with someone for the sake of it. Yeah. It was, our points are founded.
Yeah, I agree. I think the summer's been busy, which has been hard, but I also think we've learned a lot this summer. And I do think that because of the opportunities that we've had and because of the conversations we've had, I still think there's a lot left to learn about the music industry as people who, like you said, have built this from zero and we have no real experience other than what we're doing in real time. But I also feel like this summer has been the most, has the biggest curve of understanding things and of these conversations. I'm learning things that I feel like we can pass on to other people. And we've had people reaching out to us and asking for advice, which is nice, but also shows that we've not done a Champagne Whispers in a while. And so I think it felt right that on this tube strike day that we sit down and we share some of the things that we've learned this summer, because I feel like it's been such a monumental one for both the platform but also our understanding of the music industry.
Yeah, and I feel like for a lot of other people, and still us at times, it does feel very daunting when everything you see, and we are also guilty to this as well, everything is always this highlight reel and all you see is kind of the end point of someone's interview or platform or thing they've released, piece of art, what have you. You don't get to see kind of how it got there and everything else that goes on behind the scenes. And some people might think, I don't know how to possibly even dip my toe into that world. I don't understand. And there's even some things now that we're like, how did they do that? How have they pulled that off? Yeah. It's just crazy. But I think the more people talk about it and conversations are had, not just us, but people in all the other routes and lanes, we can all lift each other up. And maybe, because we have the Barbie book opposite us, but why can't we all just live in this world that we can all succeed?
Yeah, I agree. I think just before we stopped doing Champagne Whispers, I think we had this kind of epiphany, didn't we? Where we had this moment where we were in a room full of music journalists and we sat there and we accidentally did a mini podcast. I feel like we've spoken about this on the podcast, but we accidentally did a mini podcast introducing ourselves, and I feel like that was just a light bulb moment where it was kind of, I don't know, I think sometimes when you get put in scenarios you're forced to really own what you do and force yourself to look back at the progress you've made. And I think because we had a quieter year, which we'll get into, but before this festival season, I feel like from pretty much the end of April to now, I feel like we've made such progress with things that it kind of only feels right that we now sit back, reflect and pass on the stuff that we have learned, because at this point I was texting someone on the Instagram the other day and I was like, we've been doing this since 2021. That's a long time and that's a lot of info and knowledge that we've gotten that I do think is worthy of sharing.
And it's we've by no means made it.
No.
But we're on an upwards curve and
sorry, it's just gonna be old YouTube. I by no ways made it.
If you're just listening to us, there was air quotes there. But things have happened. We're seeing a ball start to roll now, and it's just nice to like you said, acknowledge it. We do have a way to go, but we have a lot of knowledge. We have a bank there that we are willing to, open up that box and just let you know what's inside.
I think it's going to be a few episodes, not necessarily next week, but I think we've got a lot of thoughts that I would like to start incorporating more now that festival season's over, because if you are in the industry already, you'll know that festival season is kind of like, how would you describe it? It's almost like a racetrack, but not necessarily in like a competitive way, but almost like once you're on it, you kind of just need to like see where you go.
Yeah.
And you can't really take any breaks. It's kind of like you take what swings towards you, because the music industry is very just like go, go, go in summer. So I feel like, yeah, I'm looking forward to a slightly calmer, more on our terms autumn, which is what I've been saying to everyone, is that like I'm looking forward to like having a bit more control about what we do, and thus we'll have more time to kind of share things that we've learned in the past few months that we normally would have been speaking to you guys about every other week.
So it's nice to be back with you.
Not to say there won't be more interviews, but
yeah, but it's just nice that I had this moment with you.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Would you like to start us off?
Yeah, so today's topic that we want to talk about is patience and knowing what's right for you will find you. So I think this summer was a manifestation of us being patient and waiting till the time was right for things. I also think personally I learned a lot about not like that it does pay off to wait for things. I think I've been like no stranger in various routes to be like, it was really hard for us to have a couple festival seasons where we weren't interviewing, and I feel like we were very lost. And I feel like this summer many times I sat there and was like, it was worth the break, and it was worth coming back to interviewing, having a break, but making these fully fleshed out series ideas that took time to develop, and I really found peace, even though I didn't have peace while we were waiting.
Yeah.
So I think learning patience.
Yeah, patience really is the word of the hour.
Yeah, and also I was just editing the Tulips interview and we were talking about patience then, and I think in that moment I was like, I want to talk about this more. Yeah. Like, so if you haven't seen that episode, maybe like backdate and then come back. It was a different way, but I do think the conversation's there.
It's connected.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, yeah, before we like fully dive into it, as a general statement on patience, is like, this isn't a real statistic, but like 95% of what we do, the music journalism world, but it also kind of extends to just the creative world, whatever you are doing, is not the final result of what you see. It's going to be scheduling and rescheduling 5 times over. It's going to be researching the thing, the person, the space that we need. It's then going to be writing questions or writing reviews or going to the thing to review it, and then admin and editing and coordinating, especially if there's more than 1, 2, 3 people of you, constantly talking and communicating what needs to be going on. And it's only about that 5% that really is the click publish or submit or post, and seeing it out in there and being like the exhale at the end, like, wow, it's out there. And even that in a form of, in this conversation, is patience, because it can't just snap your fingers and you've got a whole load of interviews out there in the world. Like it can't possibly be like that.
There's such a chain of everything all the time. I actually remember talking to not a music journalist at some point, and and I was like, oh, like there's so much admin. I was like, yeah, you see us post every other day, but like in between that I'm on emails every day and I'm responding to multiple emails. And there was a moment, like, I think because someone was so busy, that I think there was like an evening where I can't even remember the number, but I think I went through our inbox and responded to all our emails, and there was like, it was a big number, and it was like, I literally have left the emails for like a week, and why have I just responded to like, I don't know, like 20 emails, and I was just like, this is just taking me like a good couple hours to respond to everyone, and like sometimes at the best of times it can take me like half an hour to edit a reel, and I'm like, what? How is that equal? It takes us like pretty much as long as the episode is to actually film the episode.
Yeah.
So then if you compare that to how much time I spent emailing, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
And then I guess like it's also when you have like scheduled posting and stuff, it's getting everything ready in time for that as well, and wanting to stick to kind of like your own boundaries with something. So there's patience in that as well. It kind of all goes back to this word. It's like you can't run before you walk with things.
Yeah, I think we talk about the music industry being fast-paced and competitive a lot. I feel like this is a topic that we don't need to preface, because it's something we talk about in most tuning in episodes. I feel like it always comes up in Hex Appeal. But I do think that because of that, I feel like it's almost growing creatives that have no patience and will just go full steam ahead. And I think this also then goes back to our episode on overproduction. I think it's really easy, whether you're a musician, whether you're a music journalist, whether you're an interviewer, whatever. I think it's really easy to get swept up in that racetrack and just putting your foot on the accelerator. But I feel like you just like crash through every opportunity that way. And I think that's something that we had to learn from taking a break from interviewing, was that like patience to get content that is really worth it.
Yeah, like padded out, fleshed out.
Yeah.
Actually in tune with what you are.
Well, I think even like think about the Abbey Ozard interview, was that was something that we wanted to do in 2022. It didn't happen at the festival that we wanted it to. And then we just kind of were like, it will happen. Yeah. And we just kind of put it aside. And I actually think that tuning in episode was more special than any festival interview ever could have been, because it was like, well, I've waited multiple years to speak to you, and now we can speak to you from spanning that whole time, and this is such a special episode and such a meaningful episode, more so than we ever would have done. And I just think, I don't know, I think I've learned a lot about, considering before this we did an episode on overproduction, I think I really learned that this summer, was that there's patience in not making everything all at once and waiting until the time is right and waiting until it's on your terms.
It's also kind of the type of content you're making and the opportunities that are coming your way. You don't have to take each one all the time just because it's there in front of you, somewhat with a time limit, or seemingly so. My weird example of this, because I always have to have an irrelevant one, is I think like the Jonas Brothers did not want to create the TV show Jonas on Disney Channel.
I don't know that. I don't know Jonas.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. And they still did it, and I don't know if I'm like entirely taking what they meant and just destroying it. But I think people were saying that they actually kind of regret it because it is so not in line with like the rest of what they were doing, or at least season 2 of it or something. They just didn't want to do it. They did it because it was there. It was an opportunity, but they still look back and just think like, oh, like I kind of wish I didn't do that. And I think in this space, if there's someone to interview or a gig to go and review or something, just because the opportunity is there right now, you don't have to take it. Firstly, if it doesn't feel right for you at all, but also if it seems like it's not going to come back around, if you can't fit it into your schedule, you are just as entitled to say, no, we're a bit busy, we're a bit backlogged, which is something we've had to learn. Just because something is fun, and we would want to create content for that, or maybe interview the person, if we have things lined up, we need to push it back, and that's okay.
Yeah, we had this moment as well. I'm going to word this really carefully because I think it is something that's still in the works. But we had this thing pitched to us, this interview, and it didn't fit into any particular box of what we're creating right now. And we had this real moral dilemma for like a good 24 hours. And I think we also might have spoken about this before as well, because it's happened twice this summer. And the most recent one, we had this like 24 hours where we were like, okay, so it doesn't fit here and it doesn't fit there. So we could pick this out, or we could pick that out, and we could make a new thing. And we were like, is that right? Is that really something you want to do? And it got to a point where we were like, well, if it happens, then it happens, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
And then we had this moment where we were like, well, actually, this whole summer we've been saying, like, if it's meant for you, it will happen. And if we don't do it now, then it will just happen at another point. And I think I don't know if I ever, like, vocalised this, but I was like, well, we could do this almost like mini version of something else. Or we could just wait and do it properly at another point, and if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think with this specific one, we left it for fate to decide, because the person we loved the idea, so it wasn't we wouldn't talk to that person ordinarily, so what are we doing? So I
don't want to waste this good conversation, and it's Abbey Ozard. It's like I don't want to waste what could be a really sweet conversation spanning years of like following your journey for like a 10-minute interview
isn't
on our first festival run. Like, I know what I would rather, and I trust that will happen when it's meant to happen.
So I've said kind of like
Sorry, Abby, for like name dropping left, right, centre.
My like advice for that sort of scenario is to ask the questions of whether you can see a place for it in your natural content, even elements of it, because if you're fine to adapt and change, which is always a good thing to have in your brain, like not being so robust that you can't fathom a world where there's no change at all. Yeah. Can you? If you can't find a way to see it fit that feels natural at all, don't do it just for the exposure. Don't let other people put you on or off. You have to make that. And also, okay, yeah, so say you change everything about that content, you get the exposure and it does really well. You are then left with that, do I carry on with what I really enjoyed doing? I just changed up for that one person, and now I'm kind of feeling a bit of pressure to keep going forward with that one because it just did well for numbers, but it's not my natural content that I love. So there's all of that that's going to come after. So you can let fate take its wheel with that and have the patience to also know it might just come back around. Again, if you say this month's not going to work and we revisit it in the autumn, which we've loved that phrase at the minute, the people on the other side of that, the management, the PR teams, are also just people. They're not going to take not right now as a, blacklist them. Yeah. Because if we went to a management team and pitched something and they said, not right now, maybe in a couple of months, we wouldn't take that as a, we're never going to go back there. We would just think, well, we'll follow up in a couple of months then, as will they. So it can be fair game with that.
I think also with the idea of steering away from things or waiting for the right time, and like I'm very aware that like Eliz's media trained brain is going to like stop.
Oh no.
But I think there's a lot of creatives that like sometimes do things just because it's possible, and I don't mean this in a shady way, even though it sounds shady. And I think it's a personal style thing. If you're a creative that just does whatever happens and just goes with the flow and I just make what I want to make, that's fine, own that. Okay. But I think there's a lot of people who have this like weird in between of this is what I'm doing, but also this I'm gonna do. I only have this time, this opportunity to do it, so I'm just gonna do it in whatever format. And I think that is like just a different approach to doing things. But I also think I'm sure there are consumers out there who like to consume that kind of thing where it's just like, well, I'll just consume whatever. Yeah. But I do think that our style, our followers are the kind of people who like love intention. I think we like love an Easter egg. I love like a project, which I think is something that we've always said, even in the music we consume, the music we like, the like artists and celebrities we like, they're all very intentional with what they do. Even like yesterday, me and Eliz were talking about like the Chromacopia tour. Oh yeah. And the new album and how that fits into that and like the intention behind it and things, you know. Yeah. I believe that when you make things, I believe that those people will gravitate towards you, and I think that is something that you should really value as a creative, whether you've got like 50 followers or whether you've got 50k followers. I think you should really value what you want to make because those people are following you for that. And I think as we're having more discussions with more teams and things like that, that's something that I've realised we understand really well, and I get a lot of comfort in that. And like we know who we are, we know who you guys are, and I think that's something I've really learned to value. And I think in a similar vein to you, what you were just saying, your advice is that my advice is also to stick to what you want to do and be intentional with that and own that. I think there's nothing worse than seeing a creative like scat around something and not do it wholeheartedly, because I think you owe it to yourself to own what you do, because you are owning it, because you are making it and you're putting time into it and you're investing things into it. I think
it's your choice to make it. We always go back to that, as you are choosing it. Why make something that you wouldn't ordinarily make
or watch? Like I genuinely like we'd watch everything we make. Like I can't say wholeheartedly I do watch it like on the TV, but it's something that if someone else made it, I'd be like, that's really cool. And I think that's something you should keep in mind. And I think to a certain extent, when I was trying to decide whether this opportunity was something we should have done and shifted things around to work, I was like, if a creative I liked, if Jake Shane did a mini episode that wasn't in his studio, that wasn't really his usual format, that he was just on the random side of a red carpet because he could talk to Taylor Swift, I'd watch it, but I'd be a bit like, oh, I kind of wish it was like your thing.
But okay, so I have this question for you then.
If I had this opportunity.
If someone said, well, actually, no, I did actually ask her this the other day. I was like, if you had if you had about, what was it, 3 minutes to prep an interview of Harry, and you could ask 10 minutes strictly worth of questions, and then I kept cutting it down, would you? Can't remember your answer. Well, let's go with Taylor Swift. If you could just go red carpet side of the thing, because that's your only time ever with Taylor Swift, would you?
I think I would, but it wouldn't be trying to be something else. And I think that shows the growth that we've had, is that I wouldn't try and do a mini tuning in. Yeah. I think I would own the fact that this is a one-off, couldn't say no to this. And I think we would probably say it out loud and be like, this is a rogue thing for us.
Come on, guys.
I bumped into Taylor and we've just done this. Here you go. This is crazy. But the problem that I have is that if it was not addressed or not owned, I guess.
I don't think that was too shady.
Thank
Firstly,
you.
I guess maybe the overarching point is kind of the word integrity.
Yeah.
If anything you do, and kind of going back to all of the former points we've made, is if your choice is with intention and integrity, that will be the right choice for you. If you know it's within your realm of content, it's authentic to what you would make, and you're not doing it just as, the clickbait viral because it's there and then. I'm so, I guess, insecure that this opportunity can't come back around for me. Maybe question what you are doing and force a break. Force yourself to stop and think, why am I so scared to lose this opportunity right now when we've had things kind of fall through? And whilst in the moment, yes, it is sad, but it doesn't mean it's over entirely. We actually, I don't even mind saying this, we were going to interview someone today, but tube strikes happened. And that doesn't mean the whole thing is over. It's just a remind me in 2 weeks sort of situation. It's not done. And whilst, that means we've had to shake up things a little bit, that's okay. We are still working with integrity.
Yeah, I think during our mini break of interviewing, I think I became really cynical of the music industry. And I think it's really easy to get like that. And I think the more we speak to artists, I realise that it's kind of like this pandemic of the music industries. And I feel like it's really easy to sit across from someone and be like, what do you hate about the industry? And everyone will have something to say. And I think I had this moment where I felt like we have all these big creative ideas, we have all these thoughts, we have, I guess, all this integrity, and we wanted to do things right, and we wanted to do things well and organically. And I think there was a moment where it was almost really loud, and there were people saying well, you need to give some of that up, and you need to hand over some of the responsibilities, otherwise you're never going to be able to grow if you don't get someone else to do this for you or do that for you. And we were like, well, that goes against us, because at the end of the day, we are Blonde Vibrations. Blonde Vibrations is also the platform. And I think the break, I almost got lost in that a bit, because it was also loud, and it was also, well, if that's how the industry is, and if that's how music journalism is, where are we going to fit in that? Because at the end of the day, we can change the industry as much as we want, but also we are only two people, and we didn't necessarily hold that much weight at that point. And then I think there was this switch where I think we launched Tuning In, and I guess because we were having conversations with lovely artists, I think there was almost this moment where I was like, oh, you guys are doing things the way you want to do things, so we can do things the way we want to do things. And then we started speaking to more industry people who had the same outlook as us, and then we started meeting other interviewers who would be like, I want to change things, I want interviews to be meaningful, and things like that. And I think there was almost this switch in me where I was like, things are really bad in the industry, things are really bad everywhere, but I also think that's so nihilistic. And I think there are positive things to look at. And I think you can still do things the way you want to do things, and it might be slower, and that's where the patience comes in. But I think that's more important. And I think, I think the integrity and trusting fate is so important. And I think that goes for, like you said, like, it's not necessarily like a halt on things. At any point it can be a pause, or it could be a delay. And I also think, like, we had this moment where we had an interview planned and then it didn't go ahead, and we had this moment where we were like, I'm so happy that interview didn't go ahead. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, we had an interview fall through, and
life happened.
The weekend it was supposed to come out, we were like, I'm so glad that interview didn't come out today.
Yeah, people were like, imagine.
Yeah, and that was a real moment where, like, it was rotting my brain, the fact that this interview wasn't happening. Like, it was, I think also because of the admin side, I think it's really easy to get caught up in the cynical things and the rejection. And that was something else that someone said to us, like, I don't get responses. And I'm like, I actually really feel that pain, because there's so much time and effort that goes into things that you don't see, and that's stuff that you don't ever really get a benefit from. You never get a benefit from a rejection, really, or not response. But I think you get those slight moments where it's like, I'm so glad that rejection happened, because that was fate.
I will also say, I do think sometimes a rejection is better than a nothing. Like, at least you know the email's gone through to someone, the connection is there, been made, that you can, like, come back to at another point.
Yeah.
Like, it's when it's left in the ether, you're a bit like, did it get there? Like, hey, what's going on? But at least if it's like, no time, sorry, okay, cool. We understand the reasons why a lot of the time. And some people might not always have that courtesy to say why or what, but then you just know now, instead of being ghosted. I do think it is worthwhile having these conversations, like you said, talking to other creatives and people like that. Iona, for one.
Yeah, so who I was thinking.
I don't mind a little name drop if it's for a positive thing.
Yeah.
I love how open she is online.
Yeah.
In the same way that we are open, I love being able to connect with people, even if it's not a two-way conversation, even if it's just through a story and videos like this. I just think there's comfort to be had.
Yeah.
And this is my big way of saying that kind of everything is this running cycle all the time. The music industry, like we've been saying, what was it? Not the roller coaster, what is it that you said?
The racetrack.
On the racetrack. A racetrack goes round and around, and while the race ends, like, it can carry on. Yeah.
Like, you have a pit stop.
Exactly. And also, when it comes to the music industry, because in that own echo chamber of whatever it is, there's always another album cycle, there's always another tour, there's always something. The chances are, like, you know, our level, we're probably not interviewing people that this is their farewell and it's never going to happen again. Yeah. You know, if it's not happening now, they will be releasing another EP, another single, like, another opportunity will come, even if it's not necessarily for the project that you wanted. You will find that, as fate has it, something else will be there in about a year and a half.
We have this and I'll name drop who this is. We have this, like, and I'm so sorry, like, I feel like they're never going to watch this because they're not going to get this way through, but we have this situation with Claro's team that every time Claro comes to London, we email, and every time they respond, we have a really nice interaction. It never happens. But every time I email, the response is always kind of the same thing. Like, but every time I email, I know that we're a little bit stronger. And, like, every time, like, we apply for something, I know in my heart that we're stronger, and I know that if it's a rejection or if it's a, like, no time, then, like, I know that we're still that little bit closer. And I really get comfort from that. And I don't think I always got comfort from that, because I think I always had this feeling of your growth can stop at any point. And I believe that, because our growth did stop at a certain point, but I believe that it would only completely stop if you did. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think your growth will stop at points, or your growth will decrease at points. But I also believe that you can never get down such a rabbit hole that you can't get out of. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
if you're stable in what you do, there's always the chance for growth.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to believe in. If you just stop, how are you ever going to grow? How is anything ever going to shift and change in your favour when you're not even in your own favour?
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I also think with the fear of stopping growth, I think came the fear of saying no to things. And I think from where we went from a really quiet time to a really busy time, I think I had to relearn that a little bit. I think there were moments this summer where we were saying yes to things, and then we'd have a conversation and we'd be like, but we've never just said yes because like we should do it. Like we don't do that. And I think we kind of relearned that like you can say no to things, whether it's you don't have the capacity for it, or whether it's that it doesn't fit right now, or whether it's, you know, like you don't like the way you're being treated. Like we had a situation where we were emailing with a team and I just got the most disrespectful email, and I was just like, you know what? That's fine. If you want to treat us like that, I won't follow up with you anymore. That can just be that interview done, because I was like, I'm actually like not going to be treated like that at this, like, ever, but also at this stage. We were like, nothing's worth having people be mean to you. And I think it's people who have been like scrappy new journalists, and I feel like we still are scrappy new journalists 3-4 years in. I think you can't let people treat you like that. And I think there's a real culture that I hate that does just treat journalists like, well, I'm doing you a favour by letting you speak to my artist, and I hate it.
And it's always more reflective of them as well. I think when that situation was happening, I think I kind of said this at the time, that like that's nothing on us or what we have pitched or what we're putting forward. That's entirely them. If that's their style of communicating, don't let that, you know, cross our threshold into how we feel about ourselves. Because in that very same week, we had a very similar conversation about something else, similar level. Maybe even this other person was bigger. Entirely different reception. Yeah. Absolutely stunning, glowing communication back and forth. Really nice. Yeah. Just a positive experience with this team, and it's like they can happen at the exact same time. Yeah. Don't let the worst style of communication stunt what you feel about yourself.
Yeah, and we were having conversations, I think, like the day I got one of the emails, I think we were actually interviewing for Tuning In, and I think I said to one of the artists, I was like, I just received this like horrible email, and they were like, that is so bad. And I think sometimes you need that other person to be like, that's not okay. And like take yourself out of that situation. Like, you don't need to deal with that. Like, just because you, like, if I was emailing Taylor Swift's team and Taylor Swift's team was mean to me, I don't care if Taylor Swift's on the other side. You're not treating me like that. And I think that's really important, that you don't hold growth and you don't hold opportunity over either your self-respect or your happiness or your content plan or anything. I think
you are at the heart of what you do.
Yeah.
And if your heart's hurting, it can't go on like this. Full stop. Do you have any other thoughts, or should we wrap this up in a bow?
I think I do, but I think that's a nice point to end on.
It's not a goodbye. It's just a TTYL.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of like build up of our experiences over the summer. I feel like you can paint a picture of what our summer looked like.
It's been a whirlwind, and I think one of the points that I didn't make was like festival season can make you, break you.
Oh my God.
Both, neither. It depends how much you put into it, what's given back. You never know, you can never predict it.
I even feel like busyness as well is so the same vibe.
Yeah.
There were moments where we were so busy and I was like, this is so great, and I was like, I'm so busy.
It's like great, but I like want to then curl up and enjoy some peace and quiet.
Yeah, so it's great that we're in this really nice quiet zone 3, zone 4 flat.
And it is so great that I no longer feel like everyone on the internet knows where we live, because I kind of felt a little bit like that before.
Yeah.
Because you did.
Yeah.
So you can't find where we are anymore. You don't know where we live. And that's a great way to end things, I think. So thank you so much for listening, watching.
Thanks, guys. This is weird but nice.
Yeah, it's been real.
Yeah.
Wherever you are finding us, if you would like to like, subscribe, follow, comment, share.
5-star review, please, if you're on a streaming platform.
Share it with your industry friends. Share it with your artist friends. Share it with someone who's just creative in a sense. and just
doesn't know where to start, or
if they just have an idea, if it's just an apple in their eye.
If you want to see more of our music journalism, you can do so on our website, www.blondevibrations.co.uk. Imagine if one of these times Becky just didn't put it there and we're just like we are on Instagram at blonde vibration. Nope, at blonde underscore vibrations. You can tell it's been a while.
TikTok is blonde vibrations.
That's what I'm getting mixed up with.
That's everything.
Yeah.
We're on all the streaming, so if you're not on one, you'll find us on the other.
Yeah, you can watch us on Spotify now. I think that's something we never actually fully announced because it happened during interviews. So it kind of just happened and we couldn't really be like, guys, you're watching this on Spotify. But you can now watch us on Spotify as well as YouTube, which is fun.
Yeah, maybe you already are.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, thank you, Editor Becky, for her hard work this festival season, because it's been a busy time.
Yeah, big advice, get yourself an Editor Becky.
Yeah.
And she might well be the best thing to ever happen.
Yeah, little sparkle.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.